I think we're live. Let's wait for a few more seconds so that people join in. Hi, Gaurav.
Hello.
So, I think we can start. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to day two of the conference. Hope you guys are having a great time hopping between all the amazing sessions we have lined up for you guys. I'm Kavita Joshi, Senior Marketing Specialist at TestMu AI, and I'm glad to be your host for this session on You Can't Assert Equals an Agent, a Tester's Guide to Agent Equality. Now, this session is going to hit a nerve for a lot of you, and here's why. So, a speaker sits down to test an agentic workflow for the first time. He does the obvious things, reaches for assert equals. The output was different every single run. The tool calls came back in a different order. The reasoning path also was just wandering mid conversations. And every instinct he had was screaming, things is broken. But it wasn't. It was working exactly as he had designed. And that's kind of where a lot of us are right now sitting. Teams are shipping autonomous agents into production today, and the testing practices haven't caught up. So the question on the table this hour is simple one. If you can't assert equals an agent, what do you assert? So two quick things for the housekeeping before we start the session. First one is the Q&A box is open. The moment you hit any questions, drop them. We'll take them towards the end of the session. And second one, if something in the session sticks with you, share it on LinkedIn or X and tag us using #TestMuCon. Okay, so please let's welcome our speaker, Gaurav Khurana. Gaurav is a senior test consultant at Microsoft. He has 16 plus years experience in testing and automation. He was a tester of the year in 2022. He has a hackathon winner. But the thing I genuinely find great about Gaurav is how much he gives away. Courses, YouTube series, mentoring, GitHub Copilot, AI with Python, Azure DevOps, API testing, everything. It's all sitting there on gauravkhurana.com for anyone who wants it. So please, without wasting much of our time, let's welcome Gaurav Khurana. Gaurav, over to you.
Thank you, Kavita, for that introduction and saying some good things about me. So yeah, let's begin. I'll share my screen and people can confirm in the chat if they see the right screen, a PPT.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, so right, most of you must have done testing and automation. And have you used this assert equals? Let's keep this interactive because I got 1 hour and I really want to make the best use of it. Because what happens is that many times we get very lesser time. So anybody has used assert equals or any kind of assertions? Yes. So I see some yes over there, right? So that is a basic thing that we do. We check the assert equals. Even if you are not doing automation, you are doing testing. At the end, we follow that AA pattern, right? Can anyone name that? What is that AAA is? Right, so where the last day is definitely assertion, where I am trying to, yeah, Dhrumil has said it right, that there is arrange, act, and assert. So all the testers at the end, they have an assertion, whether they write it or not, it's there in their mind. They know it, okay, if you are testing login, where it can fail or what you have to assert to make it pass or make it fail. Right, so I'll share a playbook with you, and we are today testing a different system. So why these systems are different? Because if you see something is different written over here, that is think for themselves. So we are not testing ordinary systems, we are testing the system which think for themselves, right? So these are intelligent systems. I'll reveal more about it. That so let's begin without wasting any time. So that is the topic for today. And in the agenda, because I know that not everyone get the chance to work on the AI systems, right? Because of various reasons. So we'll understand the difference, that what was the traditional system, and still there are traditional systems, right? You book an app via IRCTC, or we are using this platform Zoodle, right? So where as of now I have not seen any AI kind of features, and there are AI systems. So these systems think and they take a decision, whereas these systems, they don't do any kind of thinking, right? We'll cover more on that. And as Kavita said in the starting, that there is lot of non-determinism, right? So if you ask the same question to ChatGPT now and after 5 minutes, and it could be a very simple question that what is this company or what is AI, you cannot do assert equals because the answer will not match, right? The things that it will tell, semantically they might be right, but word to word that will not match. So that's why the thing that I was telling is assert equals. When I tested agents, they were failing because assert equals does not work in the AI world because there is lot of non-determinism. And at the end of this session, you will have a 5-layer model. I'll tell you a simple sentence by which you can remember that whenever you see a agentic system, right, what all things you have to test. So there will be definitely some things that would be different. There would be some things that you are already doing it, but you have to consider some extra facts, right? For example, testing a ETL system is different than maybe if you are normally doing a backend testing where you are testing a database, right? So with that, let's proceed and understand that how a normal or the systems. Yeah, so a little intro about me. I'm Gaurav Khurana. I have 16 years of experience. Most of it Kavita has already covered. I have won some hackathons, quite active in the community. I do have a YouTube channel, so you can go and check it out. And I have created a few courses as well. One is on AI with Python, other is on API, and one is about making your website. And all of them are available in Udemy and TopMit. You can use the coupon code TestMu conf and you'll get some discount. If you like the session, then only go there and do it. And I believe in sharing is caring, because the events like this, right, we are together at this time, and this is a 3-day events by TestMu AI, right? It takes a lot of effort to conduct an event at such level, which is at international level. And thank you TestMu for that you have given this chance and organizing this. Right, so starting with, let's first understand that what is a traditional system it is, right? So let's say you are booking a flight ticket, right? Let's say on Make My Trip or any XYZ app in your region, right? So how all of this, or maybe IRCTC for making your train booking. So how these systems were working was, let's say at the end you see a booking ID, right? So that proves that there was a booking that has happened, because these systems are deterministic. So somebody who has written the logic, there are some paths that it can follow. Let's say there is a if path, right? There is another if condition, there is another if condition, and there could be a last else condition. So finally, if you are reaching here and you have a booking ID, that means you have followed the right path, right? Which we call as positive scenario, right? So if you were validating this, it was okay. Things were working fine, right? And in UI testing, right, we do that you did that, and if you validate the final result, it means that it has followed the right path, right? So that is why earlier checking the response was enough, right? Because we know that there are certain paths and we have covered all of them, so that means system is working fine. But now what has changed, and feel free to add any questions in the chat also, and in the Q&A as well. Like if you have a bigger question, I'll try to answer if I can. I'm reading the chats as well. So now what is the difference that has come? So now I'm talking about the agentic systems, right? The AI system. So now what happens is, same scenario is there. Let's say you want to book a ticket. You tell the agent that I want to fly from, let's say, Delhi to Singapore, right? And we are 4 people, let's say, and I want to go on so and so date, right? Let's say 10th to 12th December, right? So now what happens is, you are giving this input to a model and you are giving a prompt. So what will happen is, the model, it takes your input, it decides that whether it has to make a tool call, right? I'll take another example which will clear you, because we'll have 4 or 5 demos as well, which will make it even more clear, right? So now, if the decision is being taken, and that too, this decision is taken at runtime, right? So it's not sure that it will call all the tools, or it will call tool 3 times. If you give the same prompt later on, it might call the tool 2 times. It might not call the tool at all, right? So there is a lot of probability is there there is no deterministic. It's not that, okay, you asked for a ticket and it's not a straightforward scenario. Even there are no fixed conditions that are there, right? So there comes the complexity that how you will test such system, because you are not deciding, the model is deciding, and that too at runtime, right? So how can you test such a system which is different than what we were testing traditionally? Okay, hope things are clear. Any doubts anybody has? Are we really test AI agents the same way we test traditional software? So there is a difference. I'm going to talk about that in this. So just look at this picture and tell me, let's say I bought this biscuit and I want to make a refund. I didn't like the biscuit. I want to return it. Do you think that I should be able to return it and get the refund? I'm waiting for some answers in the chat. Just look at the screen with your testing eyes, Sherlock Holmes, that to make a return it or not. Okay, Rohit says no. And yeah, so there is somebody has found out that non-returnable. Yes. So this is the thing that I want to highlight. So you saw that it is not non-returnable. Let's say you are the customer care person who is sitting behind it and you look at it. So you directly said non-returnable. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, thank you, Tanika, Slack, and Dromil, for all of you gave the right answer that it is non-returnable. So if you try to return and there is a person sitting who will look at this, who will say that that it is non-returnable. Okay, so Abhay gave a shortcut that you can call customer and lie something. Yes, you can lie, but if the person is an intelligent tester just like you are trying your intelligence, the person will try his intelligence or her intelligence, and they might deny to you. Manish will take your questions in the last. AI agents are getting tested by AI agents. Okay, so now let's see what is the problem that will happen here. So let's think that, let's say Amazon has deployed an agent where people can type, right? So, and what they are typing is, let's say they type that please take back the product with order ID this. Let's say I am doing this, that was the biscuit I ordered and I want to return it, right? So now what will happen is, now tell me the difference between the correct agent and broken agent. This one is hard. Let's see who can answer this. So I've shown you the answers for two different agents. One agent is a correct agent where I gave this input and it gave this output. Other is the broken agent. So can you find any difference in these two? Okay, please be quick. It's a tricky question. Okay, yeah. So Tanika said is right, because if you see it's matching word to word. We are trying hard to find the problem, but there is no problem, right? So that is what the problem with the system is, right? That agent, because I told you the previous thing, if you remember, that model decides whether what it has to do, right? So if it has not checked the policy, like somebody has a fight, let's say customer care, they're at home, and if they have not checked it, right, they can issue the refund directly. So this problem can happen with the non-deterministic system where it has skipped the check of policy and it has issued the refund. So this can create a lot of losses for the company. But if you do the traditional way testing, where you gave let's say instead of giving a biscuit, you only tested a positive scenario, you tried to return a mobile phone, okay, and that mobile phone is actually returnable and it will give this output, and you will be like, oh, all our test cases are passing, report is green, management is happy, everything is going good, right? But in case of agent, you cannot take that risk, right? You cannot rely on the response. You have to check that what is the path that it has to follow. So just remember this sentence, the path is important. Right, so there is a song also in Hindi, right, that safar khoobsurat hai, right? So that means journey is better than sometimes the destination. So in agent testing, you have to focus on the journey than the destination, because uh, AI lies, right? There is no doubt about it. Have any of you got wrong answers with AI anytime? And if anybody can share a quick instance also if possible. Okay, Dhrumil says yes. So Abhay is complaining a lot about Amazon that they don't refund at times. Yeah, we'll take that. Full amount should refundable. Yeah, so AI gives wrong answer as well, and this is the reason actually that it has not followed the correct path. Okay, so now let's see. So remember this. This will help you in testing in long run, right? Because it has a lot of things. So an agent is a model in a loop, which I showed you. So there is a loop going on, and it has some tools. And model is the decision maker. So these things are important. You can even take a screenshot if you want, that what to call, with what parameters, in what order, and when you have to stop. So our next, the full demo will revolve around all of this, right? So you just have to remember this. If you remember this definition, it will help you in thinking about doing a critical thinking. Oh, these are the areas I should actually uh, do the testing on in AI agent, right? So this is the scenario that we are going to take. Hello, Paul, for joining in. So if you see, we are talking about a refund agent, right? So what it does is people give it a prompt, I want to return this. So ideally what should happen? Let's say if I gave this order ID, it should check that whether that order ID is there or not, because I cannot return something which I have not bought, right? So the step one is it should look up for some order. After that, it should check the policy, whether the thing is refundable or not. That all of you guys did by looking at the particular section which where it was telling that it's non-returnable, right? After that, it should issue the refund, right? Or it could do, you can call it as 3A or 3B. Let's say it did not understood, or maybe the item is so high, let's say it is of $1,000, right? Then they cannot rely on an agent. So maybe it escalate that to humans so that humans can verify. Because if so many people will do $1,000 return and it is done by an agent in a problematic way, it could be a problem, right? So, and this step is irreversible. Once the money leaves Amazon or any XYZ company and it reaches customer account, even by mistake, even if it is not your money also, nobody returns, right? So that can cause a lot of issues, right? So we have to focus on this portion, that all of the things that are shown in this slide, it works well, right? So let's see some demo. So this is the statement that you have to remember for the next 40 minutes and later on also, because you will find it useful, that real teams make outcome outstanding. So if you remember this, you will remember that how to test the agent. Can anyone type this? Because people say that if you type or write something, you will remember it forever. So just for your learning, you can type this, and let's see who has the fastest finger first, because here you have to type a big sentence. Real teams make outcomes outstanding. Okay, I see Dhrumil. I think this is a real lasting learner. This is very good. Cursor and Copilot figure out how to handle it themselves. So we'll come to that how Copilot and all those can handle it. But we have to understand that. See, whenever you think about AI or tool or anything, firstly you should know that how the ground reality works, right? If you don't know it, if the tool did it, whether it did it right or not, then you cannot decide, right? So if you create a test strategy for a project using AI and you don't know what is a test strategy and how it works, even though AI has produced, but will the people trust it, right? So definitely some things will go to AI, but you should also know it, right? So let's start with the reasoning, that what is reasoning actually, and I have a demo to show, right? So there are five of this I have created here. Hope you can see my screen. I have tried to zoom in to the maximum. I can do it more if you want it. So let's run the first one and see that what is reasoning. So I have run a test, right? And I have created a refund bot to show you in an actual way, right? So you see that what is the problem. Okay, so if you see that here is the error. Answered on the first model turn, so nothing was planned. Okay, so let's say there is a fresher who joins your company and you say that prepare a test strategy, just search online and prepare it. And that person goes and asks GitHub Copilot, Claude, ChatGPT, and he comes up with the test strategy the next day. And you ask the question how you came up with this, right? The person would be blank. And he's not able to tell you in sequence, or maybe he told that I just Googled it. So that way you can catch it that the person has not used his or her intelligence in that. So how you catch this thing in a model is you actually check out that how many times the model was called, right? For example, you see here agent, agent, agent. So why agent is written 3 times? Because in the previous slide, we have seen that firstly, it should check the order ID, right? Then it should check that whether the policy is there, and then it should issue the refund. Okay, so if we can count that how many times the model is called, and you cannot do all of this without writing code unless, let's say, ChatGPT or something is showing you the reasoning. It has done this, 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 right? Some telemetry or some logging you have to read, by which you will decide. So the first thing, reasoning, that you have to test, you can check it out how many times the model was called, right? So in this example that I have taken, if you see here, answered on the first turn, so nothing was called. So here I'm counting the number of model turns. Don't go into this code, right? Just understand the concept. Code anyways you can write with AI. So just focus on the concept, right? So if I go into this here, so here if you see, we are counting the number of AI messages are there. That means how many times the model was called. If model was called only one time, that means it directly replied. So it did not check the policy and all. So this way you can check that reasoning is not done by the system. So that could be one assertion where you can know that this system can fail at reasoning. Okay, now comes the second part, the teams part, tools, right? I'm just referring this as teams. So now it says that write tools and they should be called in right order. Okay, let's run another program here, and meanwhile I'll show you the tools used. Hope I'm not going very fast, right? So here we have again said the same thing, please refund order. And if you see the problem that has failed here, it says that a required tool was not called. So can anybody tell me that which tool was not called? I can read it for you. One tool call was lookup order, and the other one is, one second, is issue refund. So there is one tool that is not called. Right. So yeah, Drumil is paying high attention to this and is typing very fast as well. So if you see that policy check was not done, right? Ideally, it should have checked the policy as well. So you are using the same assertions that you have used throughout your life, like contains. So you know that these are the things that are happening, right? Yeah, but people can still type, right? Don't think that if other person has type, I will stop in between, right? No need. So I'll show you another example as well where I'll run the same thing. So this time you will see that all are called. But what happened is, let me show you in PPT as well. So this is the thing. So there are chances that an a tool call got missed. So you can catch that assertion. And here, if you see the sequence is wrong. Okay, so it checked the policy. If you do the contains, it is a problem. So you should check the order as well, right? For example, here refund was issued first and policy check is doing later, right? So what is the use of it if it has already issued the refund to the customer? So be very specific in not only checking that the tool call was there, plus you also have to check that the sequence has been followed. If this has to be 1, this has to be 2, and this has to be 3. So all of that should happen in a sequence. So this is the second thing that we learned today after reasoning, that tool calls should happen in a sequence, and all the tool calls that are supposed to happen should happen. Okay, so the next is memory, right? So this you might have seen in traditional software as well, where session IDs sometimes get mixed with each other. So let me show the code again. So where what is happening is this, a developer or a person who is developing the system, by mistake, they made some mistake, due to which, if you see here, there are two people who are trying to make a refund. One is making for 1001, other is making for 2002. Okay, now, but what happens is, by mistake, the developer or the person who was developing it, this is a Bob thread, but it was passed for Alice, right? So this kind of things you can even test with asking some questions, right? Who is the other people who are using it, right? What is your name, right? So generally, if you see ChatGPT or Claude, it gives your name, like hi Gaurav, what's up, something on Facebook and also, right? So sometimes these things you can test by asking certain questions that okay, which user I am, okay, so that, because if the mixing will happen, what will happen is you will get a bit more refund than you were actually supposed to get, right? So this is the expected scenario, where for every customer there has to be a unique thread. So Alice has got his or her own thread, right? His thread, and Bob should get his own thread. But what happens is, if by mistake somebody did this, right? So then you will see that other people information is being visible to the other user. It's a problem of session management as well, right? But it can happen with AI as well. So I just ran the program and I can show you the result here. Sorry, let me clean this up and run the memory test. So here the mix and match should not happen. Okay, I think I added something by mistake. Yeah, let me run it again. So if you see here, we are checking that Alice customer conversation leaked into Bob's thread. So you can have such assertions as well, where you check that the session IDs are not getting mixed, right? And how you do it is, you have to remember this whenever you are testing any agentic AI application. Try with two users at least. Don't think that you have tested with one user, and so then you will not be able to find such bugs, right? Log in with two different users, and then you can find such kind of bugs, right? Now comes the another part called as orchestration, right? Meanwhile, any questions anyone has? I can take questions because we have time. Till now, we have read these three things: reasoning, tool use, and memory. No questions? Okay, no worries. So let's go ahead. So what is orchestration? The fourth point: real teams make outcomes outstanding. So what happens when something breaks in the system? So I'll show you. So what happens is, let's say it is trying to look up the order, and lookup order would be something like which would be done by a MCP or some API call it would be making, right? For everything in the world, you don't need AI. The previous software development that we have done for years, it still works, right? You still need an API, which has nothing to do with the AI. AI might have, for AI, we have created MCP server, which makes it simpler to make that call with a prompt. But the traditional software development still happens, right? So what's happening is, let's say that lookup order service was down and it is returning 500 and 500. And you know that AI is very intelligent, super intelligent. It tries to keep solving the problem. So if there is 500 server error coming, it could stop, right? But what happens is, sometimes it tries to use some intelligent. So the failure should be handled gracefully, right? So you have to test such scenarios as well. Sometimes maybe you can bring that service down, right? Or maybe look at the logs, look at the telemetry. Most of the, for example, in Azure Foundry or Langsmith or any platform where you have deployed your models, be it Claude, so all of them have a telemetry. Whenever you type a prompt, all of this data which I am showing you, it goes over there, right? So you can check that data, whether there are any failures which has happened in this, because AI will sometimes will give you it will behave very confident. It will tell you, oh, I issued this refund. But when you go in the logs, you will see that there was a failure, right? So how it could have done that? So now let me show you another. Yeah, so this is one example, but let me run it first for you so that we are following the same pattern. I'll not share this repo with you. Yeah, it can confuse you. It is just created for a demo purpose, right? So if you see here, let's go to the test case first. So here we have defined that recursion limit 8, so that it should try only 8 times, right? Because if this is not there, right? So there are chances that, let's say the development team has not handled the failure. So it will keep on running in the background, and it will keep on wasting a lot of tokens. It will keep on reasoning, and you are using the latest model, but reply is not coming, or reply is coming late. So you can look into this, that why the reply is coming late, right? So yeah, Manish has written very good statement that AI confidently says false statement as well, right? And then when you do the critical thinking and when you say it, so it accepts also, right? So AI behaves like a perfect human being who never gets angry, right? And when you tell it's your problem, it's not like human. Like if you tell me that Gaurav, you did this mistake, there is a general tendency, right? I will try to defend it. I'll say X, Y, Z reasons to defend it. But AI is not like that. It is confident in both the ways. It will give you the answer confidently. It will accept its mistake also confidently, which is a good feature, right? But we have to make sure that, see, when you are doing for some simple software, right? But these softwares are getting used in medical terms. People are uh, doing a lot of analysis with this. So then it becomes very critical that these systems are well tested. They are not giving such answers to a doctor, right? You might not want a doctor to be using a AI system which is even 90% or 80% correct, right? So that human judgment would always there. Yes, HIL, which is human in the loop, is necessary because AI has not reached that, right? For some things it is okay. You are writing code, that's okay. So there are mistakes, but somebody should be there to review it, right? So let me run it. Okay, so let me do clear screen and let's run another one. So here what we are doing is, yeah, I was telling you this, that it should not do a lot of recursion or a lot of time waste if there is a problem that has happened, right? So if you see here, we are checking that whether uh, if there was a failure, whether it has gone till the maximum limit. So we have set the maximum limit 8 and it has went till there, right? So it has wasted a lot of tokens. And there are some libraries. So right, you will ask that, oh Gaurav, we learned a lot of theory, but if we go home, where we'll implement all of this, right? So there is a agent eval library as well. I can show you. I have used at few places, I think in the first one, right? So some of these things are automatically available, just like, yeah, here from agent eval. So I'm tracking that the tool calls, right? So this tool call is already provided by this library. So there is Microsoft Agentic Framework MAF, which has evaluation. There is DeepEval. So that is also that also provides you evaluation. And there is LangGraph. So all of these systems are already there in place, but you should know what you have to achieve, right? Just like assertion libraries has a lot of contains alls, right? String comparison, equal to comparison. But when you know it, then you start applying, right? So this session is to tell you that what are the dimensions that you have to think of. Then with any of these tools your company prefer, right? Or maybe that also depends of, there is no best answer to this, right? If you'll ask me that what is the best tool that you have to use, there is no best tool. It depends on your context, because let's say your company is building a framework in C sharp, then Microsoft Agentic framework it provides in C sharp, but maybe there is another framework which is not having C sharp with that, right? They may have Python support to be better, right? So all of these things you can decide. So coming back to the topic, hey, hi Ishan, good to see you here. And orchestration. So I was telling that if there is a junk data coming, right? So see, we are calling a lot of tools. It's not that they will reply with the right data. Tools is nothing by which an AI achieves some task, just like me. So I can keep on talking and talking, but by talking I might not be able to do stuff like, let's say I have to hold this mouse, so I have to use it with my hands. So you can consider tools like to be hands which help you in achieving the things, right? So let's say I said to somebody, give me this email, but that tool was not ready and it gave a garbage, right? And if my model processed that garbage and produced an output, so that is also a problem. So that's what all these categories come under, the thing called as orchestration, right? So here if you see that there was a tool, let's say we called the tool and it was not working fine and it returned the garbage data, let's say the order lookup. Okay, we ran this order lookup and it gave some corrupted bytes. So if you remember the biscuit that we started with, it was just 52 rupees. But agent has received some wrong answer and it has returned 100 rupees, right? Again, a very good answer at the end. I have made the refund, right? So if you don't match what was supposed to be returned and what was actually returned, then again company is in loss. People will feel, oh, agent is doing a great task, it has made 1,000 refunds and we don't need a person, we have replaced 10 people in the team, right? But if you see, they are incurring this loss of 48 rupees with this, right? And it can be larger as well. So this failure is an important thing which is called as orchestration, right? Orchestration has other things also that comes inside this, right? So orchestration is generally, let's say there were 4 agents that have to be called, because I am talking about a single agent in this talk as of now, refund agent, right? At times what happens is that there are multiple agents in a company. Some does the refund, some does something else, maybe policy check, right? It onboards somebody, let's say a seller is onboarded, business seller. So there are different agents, so you put an orchestrator at the first who decides where this request should go, right? So that kind of test also should be done, that what path it has followed, whether it has gone to the right agent or not. Maybe it has gone to the wrong agent, but still it produced an English output. And if you are just testing the traditional way via automation, you gave a prompt, right? If you are using playwright, right, and there is a box, let's say just like chat gpt, you ask that, uh, do me a refund, and it went to the business onboarding agent, and by mistake it said that, yeah, refund issue, right? So then things will work if the instructions and all are not properly taken care, right? So this was about orchestration. Let's move on. Where to find the, where to find practice agent to practice test? Okay, very good question. I will give the answer to that as well. So you can create few, like just understand the basics of, let's say, LangChain or MAF, or whatever the tools that are available. Create a basic agent where you give a task, maybe you, and you do two three calls, right? Just I did in this scenario, and give it a task, and it will try, and it will fail. But with latest models, you might not be generally able to produce a lot of failures, right? Unless you do a mistake. But it is possible. It's not that those models are 100% proof. But if you try to make a basic thing, then it might work as well, right? So now comes the final part, output quality, right? So what it is about, let's say it has done all of it. Okay, so it has checked three things. You remember, firstly it was checking the order id, it checked the order id. Okay, then it was doing the policy check, it did the policy check, right? Then refund tool has to be called, the refund tool was also called. So 1 2 3 and all in sequence, and there was no error, right? And multiple calls was there. So all the RT, right, real teams make outcomes outstanding. So all of this is met, but still there is a problem. Just like you are doing API testing, where you verify that whether a record entered into the backend or not, right? Just like I was giving you the booking ID example, you can stop at the booking ID, or you can make a backend call via API to check it out whether actually something happened or not. Because even in traditional systems, we have seen people make mistakes, right? They might have put that API call not in if condition but in else condition, so that API call never happened. So you can check that whether actual refund happened or not, right? Agent can tell that, oh, I refunded this $49 or 52 rupees, whatever, but is there an actual return that has happened, right? So I'll show you another final demo for this, then I can take the questions as well. Okay, let's go here, do a clean screen, and let me run a demo, and let's go to the output now. Okay, this is the output file. So if you see here, there is a refund ledger. Okay, and it is coming from this refundbot.tools, right, which is here. If you look at it here, there is an empty dictionary. That means there is no refund in the starting. And whenever any refund happens, you will see that there is a function called as, yeah, issue refund. So we have put here that it should be appended, right? So if there is no refund that is there in the system and you are showing it to the user would be happy to see the message. But if there is nothing coming, then the person would be like, okay, you told me a lie, and then there will be a LinkedIn post. I share a lot of such LinkedIn posts, right, where we show that how problems can happen. So it is just to share with the people that what can happen. So if you see here, we are checking. So you have to check whether the actual task was achieved or not. If the agent says that it has sent the mail, so you can call an API and check it out whether the email has landed or not. And for that, you need traditional testing, right? Like you will check that whether there was an email that was called or not called, right? At times, I'll show you something interesting as well. Okay, so yeah, this is so yeah. So there are different kind of evaluation. If you have just tested not an agent but a chatbot which gives answer. Agent is something. The difference between a LLM chatbot and an an AI agent is agent can do stuff as well, right? It can read your email. It has tool access. But a chatbot, maybe like ChatGPT now, ChatGPT also have tools, so it can answer based on its model or knowledge that it has, right? So if you give that whatever the agent has responded, it will say, yeah, very nice tone. The customer would be happy. You are talking in a positive, humble manner, right? But the grounding judge, which is actually checking the ground data, right? That whether actually there was a refund of 42 in the table or not, right? Let's say you are checking just the entry, and let's say it has returned 100, but actually 42 was returned, right? So we can even do an evaluation where you send what what the agent has printed and what is there in the table, and you can use LLM as a judge, right? So for example, I can use the data which is output which is given by an agent where it says that I have made a refund of 100 rupees, right? And I'll check the ledger where there is 42 rupees, right? And I can send it to another LLM to check the validity whether these two messages are matching or not. So in text it says 100 rupees, but actually it is 42. So there, same thing can fail as well, right? Okay, so yeah, these are the things that we have studied so far, right? What is the first one? If anybody wants to give it a name to this one, whether it formed a plan or at all. So what do we call this? Let's see in the chat. If you remember how we started with, what was the first thing uh, in the real teams make outcomes outstanding? Okay, everybody went for dinner. Right. So yeah, Vedak has rightly replied that it is reasoning. And again, Kubra has said the same thing. And how we did this is we measure that how many times the loop has happened. Right. After that, we have checked these three things. Right. And so what was this after reasoning? What was the stuff that we read? If anyone remembers. Okay, just for the sake of time, yeah. So Dhomil has used the technical term for it, the trajectory, right? What trajectory it has followed, right? I have not showed you this, what argument it passed, but we saw it later when it has passed the garbage value and things were there, right? And this was also important that what is carried between turns. So one tool should not give garbage, right? So here comes the another one, which is orchestration, right? Here memory is not written, but for memory, just remember that you have to test more than one user, at least two users are there, right? And this is the final output validation, that what you are saying, is it right or not, right? You can say in a humble and right manner, right? So remember this, real teams make outcome outstanding, right? So this will help you in remembering that what all things you have to look for. There could be more. I have covered the categories, right? So this is the thing that we talked about. You can take a screenshot also in this, that real teams make outcome outstanding. And one trick also I'll tell you, I have found many issues with that. So whenever you have a little doubt, just ask, are you sure? Right? So when you ask AI, are you sure? Many times it said that no, I'm correcting my answer and this is the problem and all. So I showed you via code, but some of these things, if you think deeply, can be tested via the same agent as well, right? So you can ask that how you reach to this conclusion. So by that way, you can know that whether it has whether the reasoning was there or not. You can ask that what was the tool output, because all of these things remain in its context, right? You can try to make a failure by asking stuff, right? And output, you can again send it back and say that, do you think that this is the right output, right? So this is what it is. And let's see, this is the final thing that I want to tell you, that you have to assert the path, right? Not just the destination. This is the difference between the traditional and the AI one, because the path is important and path is invisible as well, right? So what you have to do is you have to test like a gray box, right? It's not totally a black box if you have the access to, because mostly every one of you is working in a company where you have code access, right? So you can deploy this code over there, right? So thank you so much. Remember this, we can connect on this. You can scan this code. Just to quickly revise, we started with, there are two types of agents, there are two types of system, traditional systems and AI systems, and both of them will coexist, right? Amazon will not become fully AI driven. There would be traditional system, there would be AI system. So you have to understand what is new in the AI system. So the new is real teams make outcome outstanding, right? The reasoning part, the tooling part, the memory part, the orchestration, and the output. So I am now open for any questions you have. We have 14 minutes left, and I am happy to take any questions, and feel free to tag me with the learnings that you have with the session on LinkedIn, or feel free to connect. Yes, Kavita, do we got any Q&A?
Yes. Thank you so much, Gaurav. That was an amazing session. The 5 layer model alone is worth the price of the admission. I think a lot of people might have taken the screenshot of that slide that you shared. So we can go ahead for the Q&A part. Let me just pop on the Q&A the screen if you have. So here's the first question. How do we
How do
measure
we,
consistency without? You can go ahead.
yeah. Okay. How do we, okay, Bharat, welcome. How do we measure consistency without forcing an agent to behave deterministically? So consistency does not mean the same answer every time, right? Consistency means is the you are giving the right answer, right? So it should be semantically correct. So if I ask you what is the capital of India, so you might say New Delhi is the capital of India, or somebody will say the capital of India is New Delhi. So here there is no loss in the consistency. Answers are consistent. Answer is same. Even some AI will just say New Delhi, right? So you don't have to put deterministic thing. If you will put it, you will lose the AI part of it, right? So there is a attribute called as temperature, right? If you set it very low, AI will give maybe the same answer for it every time. You can do it. Let's say there is a company who wants that, oh, we want even the English to be same, everything to be same. So it is controllable, but people generally don't control it. Otherwise, you will lose that part. I think so.
Thank you, Gaurav. So here's the second question.
Okay, in WhatsApp automation agents, if 10 user message same time, then how does single business agent save data? How it works in WhatsApp automation agents? If 10 user message same time, then how single business agent save data? How it works? Okay, I'm trying to make maybe it's written in a fast manner. So I think there should be like, it depends that how you have written the system, right? Just like ChatGPT is able to handle thousands of user in a time. So any systems based on the capacity or based on the way it is defined, it can handle such things. But you can feel free to type again, like in case I am unable to answer that, so that I get the question right. But we can move to the next question for now.
Sure.
How to check drift while doing agent testing? So for that, like what I did recently, so first let's understand why drift will happen. So somebody changed the prompt, right? Let's say they fixed a bug and they changed the prompt. Now so you must have a benchmark. Let's say there are certain tests which were running, and they were giving a certain score, because in AI testing, because it is a non-deterministic system, as Bharat has also asked, that how we can bring that, right? People are not bringing that deterministic thing, and sometimes it is saying New Delhi is that, and sometimes it is giving that. So you can have a benchmark, right? So let's say consistency should not drop below 3, right? And like recently I did that. I created a utility by which I can compare two reports. So what happens is, let's say in one sprint you generated a report, and you can create a comparison utility which checks that if there is a drift happened, you can discuss that why this groundedness or this thing has reduced. So that way we can do by setting a benchmark and then doing the comparison.
Thank you, Gaurav. We can go ahead to the next question.
How do we compare the different agent responses in automation? So you don't need to compare it, but what you do is you generally set the ground truth. So there is something called as golden data set. You can learn more about it, and JSON-L format as well. So what happens is we pass the query. For example, if I take the same example, what is the capital of India? So this is the query. Now agent can respond anything. So I can call today, I ran automation in the morning and I ran automation in the evening. It will give different responses. So we have something called as ground truth, where we tell that New Delhi is the capital of India, right? But let's say the agent replied that the capital of India is New Delhi. So the same thing, which is the even the topic title, that assert equals will not work in this condition, right? So what we do is we send the output to LLM, right? So even I'm taking a session in Antwerp, right, in automation test conference. So where this is the topic that just like poison kills poison, AI test AI, right? So you need an intelligent system which can know that both of these things are actually they are same, right? So we send both to LLM, and LLM says that yeah, they looks okay and they look closer. So that is the way different agent responses are still considered same because of that intelligence layer that we have brought in between.
Thank you, Gaurav. We'll take the last question for the day.
Okay, when evaluating multi-step autonomous agents, why might we analyzing the execution sequence of runtime tools calls a more reliable indicator of quality than evaluating the final user-facing response alone? Because as we saw in this whole scenario, that if it has not checked the policy, right, it can issue a refund of without you buying that product. If you will not check the sequence, even if multi steps are involved, the example that I took, that okay, the request you asked for a refund, it did not went into a refund agent. Maybe somebody is developing a new agent, and that agent does not have any system instruction. It is written that whatever user is asking, give a good reply. Okay, it went there and it said you that okay, I have issued you a refund and you are happy, and after 7 days you are calling the company and saying that oh, you asked me that you gave me the refund, but there is no refund, right? And if we are not testing it, you can find on Google there is a company, and it is I think before AI or maybe so something, and a company outside of India where their agent bot has told about a person has asked about flight check-in time or something, and that agent bot told the wrong information, right? Even though they have written AI might make mistakes and the information is right on their website as well, right? But the court has penalized it, the person, the company, and they are asked to pay to that person, that why even your chatbot is giving wrong information, right? So if we will not do all of this, chatbot can give wrong information and company has to bear a lot of losses as well.
I think that was it. Thank you so much, Gaurav. Thank you for the amazing session. So, guys, we might have missed few of the questions. You can go ahead and check them in our community channels. We'll be posting them soon. So, stay tuned for that. And thank you so much, everyone, again for joining the conference. And enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. And if your answer is not answered, you can feel free to ping me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much.